Hey guys, before we start the show, I just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by the Extreme Health Academy. If you guys are interested in taking your health to new levels you never thought possible, or if you're currently dealing with any kind of health challenge, any kind of health issue, and if you want cutting edge training and support as well as a really amazing community to help support you on your health path, the Extreme Health Academy is for you. We've got monthly courses on disease processes as well as the body systems, like the organ systems of the body, the immune system, all kinds of amazing courses taught every single month by Dr. John Bergman. We're going to be doing group cleanses. There's in-depth protocols. There's quick win videos. There's a monthly Q&A mastermind call where you get to ask your questions to Dr. John Bergman, to Justin Stellman, myself, and my wife Kate as well. We're going to be offering webinars, and there's an amazing community. This place is the absolute most incredible resource for anybody who wants to take their health to the next level, and that's probably you. So if you are interested in the Extreme Health Academy, if you want to get access to it and get support on your health journey and really take your health to new levels, check out extremehealthacademy.com. All right, we got a little bit of an intro, not an intro, what do you call that?
I don't know what's going on in your brain.
What am I trying to say? Not an intro show, an extra show.
An extra show.
There's a name for that. Bonus episode. There you go.
Is that? We're such a good team. A bonus.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You have pregnant brain.
I'm not even pregnant.
I hope not.
Remember that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he was pregnant?
I never saw it.
You never saw it?
What's that called?
Twins or something?
Yeah.
With Danny DeVito?
Uh-huh. So silly. I've never seen it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is the word, impromptu.
Oh, impromptu.
That's the word I was saying.
Well, it is a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of the day at
That's
1
true.
o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of is impromptu.
Yeah, so we want to talk a lot about some of the different things. I figured it was time, people have been asking for a show about pregnancy, and turns out we're pregnant.
One of us is.
One of us is pregnant, yeah.
With two.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, for those who don't know, we are expecting twins in June.
Twin boys?
Yep, of 2018. Twin boys. We think it's two boys.
Uh-huh.
It could be. It was kind of early, and we didn't really want to do a scan, but we were having some other things going on, so we went in and got one. And it looks like, I think one for sure is a boy. The other one looked a little iffy.
Yeah. It's
17 and a half weeks. Who knows?
It's interesting because we weren't even supposed to have the scan, and we did it at 18 weeks, right?
Just under, yeah.
Just under 18 weeks. And they typically say that you shouldn't do a scan before 20 weeks, right?
They say to wait if you're on the more natural side.
Yeah.
There's some reasons,
Yeah, it's
Genevieve
not good.
from Mama Natural, that was on our show a week ago. 2 weeks
let
ago.
me make a little, make sure we mention that.
Yeah, excuse me. In her book, she talks about how it's ideal to do even wait till 22 weeks if you can.
22 weeks,
if you're going to do a scan, just to, the chances of them having to rescan are a lot smaller because at that point you're showing more anatomy and stuff. And they're not just looking for gender anatomy. They're looking at, kidneys and brain and heart and chambers and things like that.
So we're going to talk about, we're going to be very vulnerable in this particular episode because both of us are learning to let go a little bit, and it's challenging when you know what we know, to also be, what's the right word? How do you do?
Open to surrender? Perhaps?
Open to surrender, yeah. So we're going to talk a lot about pregnancy, what some of the things you are doing for your pregnancy, because a lot of people have been asking and writing in and asking about, what is Kate doing? What types of different things are you guys doing? So we'll talk about that. And then we'll also be a little bit vulnerable and talk about some of the things we don't want to do that we have had to do. And we're going to talk all about that.
And vulnerable about the things we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have enough info or we're unsure of. So.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be good.
So,
it'll be good.
I mean, starting with even the scan. I mean, I didn't even want to do the scan, remember? And you didn't either.
Yeah.
But what was the reasoning behind that? I think you were having some. So for to lay the groundwork, Kate's body has a really challenging and big fibroid. What kind of a fibroid? It's a
subserosal
fundal uterine fibroid attached to the wall, right?
Right.
And
for about a decade there, and it's 8 centimeters. So it's
8 centimeters,
size of a small orange or a big lemon, or Anyway, we had seen a surgeon in the summer just to see if, as a last option, that is something I wanted to do or not. And I'd never leaned towards surgery, but of course he's like, "Oh, that thing's the size of a grapefruit," and I'm like, "Okay, he might be a little dramatic, It's
so funny
he
when
wants
you
to take it out."
Yeah, it's so funny because you go there and it's like you never get an objective opinion about anything when you go to a medical doctor, because they're always going to disparage and poo-poo other medical doctors.
Right.
And they're always going to sort of, through the use of subtle manipulation and fear, try to sell their services.
But
of people, because didn't he say during that thing, I mean, it's just so funny because when you and I are sitting there, it's like we see through all of the little manipulation.
I know what you're trying to do.
It's like, I know what you're trying to do. And didn't you say that you knew of people that were unable to give birth after?
Yeah, there's been instances of scarring and scar tissue building up and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I didn't know personally people, but I've read about people. I did a lot of research on what the benefit to doing surgery for a fibroid is versus not. And it was I forget the exact percentage, but it was a pretty high percentage of the fibroids that actually grow back.
A high percentage?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty high.
And I suspect it's probably...
Or they grow back in little, other areas, and there's more of them. Or, I mean, there's a lot going on.
There's got to be some reason, like, that women don't know why these fibroids are created through estrogen and xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens and environmental toxins and stuff. So it's probably because most of the women just continue living the same lifestyle that got them there to begin with.
Right. And yeah,
but still, they grew back.
Right.
Which he downplayed that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's like, oh, once and he really recommended getting it out before conceiving, because he's like, oh, you're going to be feeling a lot of other stuff in there. You're not going to, you could have room, but it would be really uncomfortable. And he did say, I remember at the end when he said something like, well, if you don't get it out now, you will later, because they do not shrink, they grow. And I'm like, well, I've had multiple people, even in the medical field, tell me different things. You know, like that they can shrink and completely die and shrivel up and go away during pregnancy.
I love that he thinks that he just knows, like he knows what is going to be like the outcome for every person, for every patient ever. Like ever. There's no it's just so how it takes a special kind of mind for someone to become a medical doctor to be able to say words like that.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't shrink, they grow. It's like, well,
every case of every fibroid that you've ever, those are just ones he's seen, if he's even being honest.
Yeah, how about the fibroid that didn't grow from a 20-year-old or 25-year-old woman in India?
Uganda, yeah.
Who he doesn't know about. So,
yeah. It's
just nuts. It's like anytime you have people saying, making blanket statements, huge general platitudes, I always just sort of run. I'm like, dude, you cannot, it's like saying there's no God. It's like you have to know, you have to be privy to the knowledge that's in the entire universe to know that. Right. It's impossible to know something that's so vast.
Right, and who could know that? But you're right, the creator.
Yeah, there's somebody
who knows all.
So anyway, he told you that he was trying to sell his services, and
we decided, I did a lot of prayer and a lot of soul searching and I'd been struggling with it for, a decade of intense pain and problems caused by the fibroid.
And to be honest, we tried many, many different options, but to be honest, it was such a crazy set of circumstances, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate. It's like we were bootstrapping this business, the Extreme Health Radio, and I had quit everything to do it. And in the meantime of growing it, we were sort of living off it. When you guys support us through Patreon or Amazon and, our store and stuff, that was helping pay our bills, and it still does. Yet for me, I knew that if I was working a regular full-time job, I wouldn't be able to do the show the way I was doing it. And I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And at the same time, so we were bootstrapping that side. And on your side, you were slowly diminishing, because what I think was causing the fibroids was all the phytoestrogens from the chemicals at your salon. So you were being constantly driven to the idea that you had to quit. And that we're living off of mostly that money that you're making there.
Right.
And so then all of a sudden, oh crap, we have to like, cut off your income. Are the babies kicking?
Woo! Wow. I just had my hand on my belly and it just like bounced off.
I think we have a couple radio show hosts here. We have a couple Phil Hendrys.
Like being on the air. Ooh, a couple Phil Hendrys.
Yeah, so it was just a crazy set of circumstances where we're living off of everything that you guys are supporting us through the listenership, but then you had to stop.
Right.
And so we had no extra money to buy courses or supplements or to go see doctors. I mean, all that stuff adds up. And
so we were trying all the things we could do and afford, like, tons of castor oil packs and enzymes and, things that are, and given my fibroid type, the subserosal fundal, according to some people, that's a really good one to have and chances of shrinking. And mine just hung out like a champ. I mean, it wasn't going anywhere.
We stopped the growth.
It never grew in 10 years.
Yeah, so that's pretty encouraging.
Well, I'd say, and when we first found out about it, it was like at a 5 when I had first discovered it.
5 centimeters?
OBGYN. Mm-hmm.
And that was how long ago? What year was that?
Oh, probably 6 or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
6,
and then it hung out like that for years, and it did slowly grow to an 8, but then the 8 was stable for like a decade. So
wow.
Yeah, and I didn't have any other ones. A lot of people with fibroids have a few multiple small.
See, I think that we could have, if we had endless money and endless resources, I think we could have shrunken that all the way. It's just it was like the severity of like we wanted to get pregnant, but it was the time. We were both getting older. So we had like a lack of time and a lack of funds at the time. So it was like, okay, so let's just go talk to this surgeon, just see what he says.
Yeah, this is kind of the last shot.
Because we looked at other stuff too. Remember the ligation or something of like choking it off, and there's different remedies that we looked at, but then they also couldn't guarantee that you could get pregnant afterwards.
Yeah, there was some risks associated with those for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a fibroid treatment center here in Orange County, and yeah, they would go in and basically put these medical, and that's kind of scary in itself, medical beads. Medical beads. God knows what's in those.
Right.
To block the what do you call that? The main artery or whatever you want to say that feeds the fibroid.
Uh-huh.
And, excuse me, that sounded really good and stuff. It's really not invasive like a big surgery. They're not cutting, they're basically just like shutting off the blood supply. And the things die up usually, or they reduce significantly, if not altogether. But what I didn't like about that is, the more you read the fine print, it's like, we do not recommend this for women that still want to have children. And to me, it just came down to, and last summer, going, gosh, like, this is it. Like, I mean, I think surgery is the best option if I'm going to do anything.
We even thought of cannabis suppositories.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything. I always forget this part.
Yeah.
What's really funny is I had started doing those for the fibroid. After we saw the surgeon, I'm like, I'm going to give it, 4 months. I'll give it till the end of the year. And then, maybe we could try for a family. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to this cannabis suppository to try to shrink this thing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I did 3 days. Yeah, 3 days of the cannabis, not knowing I was probably already, 4 or 5 weeks pregnant.
Our baby's going to come out with like a weed cigarette.
Holding a 420 clock. But what was really weird about it is I felt really horrible. Do you remember that? Those 3 days, I felt like crampy. Excuse me. I was super crampy. Something didn't feel right. And I thought, if this is how cannabis suppositories that I'm make me feel, I don't like this at all. Yeah.
So what happened? You just felt really bad?
I felt really bad. So I stopped. And then a couple days later or whatever, we found out we were pregnant. So I was like, okay, that has a way of, it's like my body was so innate in its wisdom telling me like, yeah, probably not what you want to be doing when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I mean, but there went that option. So at this point, my hands are tied. I mean, I didn't have that anymore. That was my master plan after we said no to the surgeon. I mean, this was going to be my last shot. And then I thought, it is what it is. I'm surrendering. If I have the giant fibroid, going forward into the pregnancy, that is what it is. And then, we shared on another show, like we weren't even trying to get pregnant at this point. And lo and behold, I added quinoa into my diet and thought I was bloated from quinoa for about a month. And then I'm like, something else feels a little weird. I'm a little, but when you're bloated and feeling kind of chubby and weird, I thought, oh gosh, it's probably because of, is a high sulfur food, and I shouldn't have been adding that in as much as I had. I went kind of hog wild, like tried it for a few days, felt great, and then thought I could eat it every day,
I remember you weren't feeling good.
I wasn't feeling good, but obviously for other reasons.
That's crazy. Are the babies still kicking?
No, they're taking a nap now.
Are they taking a nap? Do you feel them on both sides?
Well, that's what's funny. Like at sometimes, like they congregate. It seems like right now they're like a yin yang position, I guess. So they're kind of in one area, but I feel like maybe as they're growing, like, feet are on one side of my right and some are on the left. So you do feel like multiple kicking on side. It's crazy. Very strange. Like they're separating, like,
that's so crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, here we are, and it's not, it's not ideal to have that fibroid sharing a space with two or any human in there, but it's, your body's amazing what it can house.
Now, do we know this the correct term for the twins? Because they're not. What's the right term for?
Officially, we'll need another scan if we're going to do that to see. And we'll talk about why.
Fraternal, and
they think it's fraternal, and they think that they're, excuse me, into the woman who did the scan saw 2 placentas.
Oh, she did. She saw 2 placentas and 2 sacs.
And, I believe that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then a membrane in between the two of them.
Okay.
So she said it'd be like, it was so cute. You could see them like trying to touch each other, move a little,
That's funny.
She said it was like having like a shower curtain between the two of them. Like they can feel each other, but they're not like.
It's touching. So crazy. When she looked at me, it was such a crazy experience because we were doing the scan, and remember she said, I was okay doing the scan or not that day. And
and this is why. Can I really quick?
Yeah.
It's because we went in early, which is not what we wanted to do at all, because I've been having like insane amounts of pressure building up like on my liver. My right side. Like it's not even so much rib. It was like I've had liver pain in the past with like dealing with some liver issues. Not big deals, but like when I've been detoxifying, I really feel my organs. So I was feeling that, and the midwifery we were working with said, yeah, let's send you in just to see if the fibroid is growing and pushing up on things that could be making your liver really hurt. Because I also did a blood liver panel that came back completely fine in the liver. So they're like, there's something pushing on there. So anyway, we went in for the scan. Yeah,
we went in for the scan. We're 2 weeks before they recommend, because a lot of times, when they do the scan, they can't see what they need to see, like certain organs aren't formed yet and blah, blah, blah. So we went to go do the scan.
Which, by the way, is still super later than most people get one really early on just because they want to like.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Why did they get one so early if you can't see it?
That's why everyone was shocked. Like when we waited so long, they're like, you didn't know? Like, waiting till 20 weeks is kind of like in the
regular
world. That's people are like, what? Everyone at my speech therapy part-time job is like, wait, what? Like you didn't get a scan at 10 weeks or?
When is the first time people get scanned?
They can get them at 10 weeks. Yeah.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, we're talking like 3D, like we have a good friend and
imaging.
She's high risk, but they took this 3 or 4D, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what that means, but this image, and they could tell at 10 weeks it was a girl through blood work and through this little picture, and it was insane.
Yeah, to me, it's like, I'm glad that we know, and it's good.
Yeah.
But I would have been perfectly fine not doing a scan the whole time.
Well, the lady left the room, so we show up.
Yeah, we show up.
And she says, well, you are a bit early, and you're a bit on the thinner side. It might be kind of hard to tell what we need to tell. And if you're not pro-scan and you don't want to get a bunch of these, you might want to wait.
That way we don't have to do 2.
Right. Then you might not have to come back and do another one.
That's right.
So we're like, so we debated, and we thought, you know what? What's the scan going to change? We're not going to abort our kid. We're not going to... so what, they have one kidney. I mean, okay.
What are you going to do?
Or their heart chamber looks weird. I mean, what are you going to do? So we just said, heck, we're here. Let's do it. We already paid the fee up front. And we won't plan on doing another one for a while.
Yeah, this will be it.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And so she's doing the scan, and we're just talking, having a good time. And, I'm behind, and I'm sitting in the chair behind. And and then it was weird.
She barely touched me with that wand.
Yeah, but what was weird is that she didn't lead into this. She just looked back at me and said, "Are you sure this is the first scan you've ever had? You've had
no other scans?" We're like,
"You've had no other scans," and it was like, and she kind of stopped what we were talking about.
Yeah, that was weird. We were talking about our dogs or something.
And I thought, she just all of a sudden turned serious.
Yeah.
I thought, what's she gonna? This is not good. What's she gonna tell us?
I thought she was gonna say, "You just have one big tumor, baby."
I know,
or something. It's not even a baby.
And I'm normally I don't think like that. But she got all serious, and I was like, "Okay, what's going on?"
Yeah, that was weird.
And then she goes, "Well, you're having twins, right?"
Or she goes, you don't know you're having twins then?
Yeah.
And we said,
and so, and then you started tearing up because I knew the whole
shocked.
time.
Yeah, you said you did.
I called it the whole time. I knew it. For some reason, I just knew it.
It's funny. You would come up to the belly and put your hand on the belly and even say like, how are the babies? Everything was plural with you. And you just, you never wavered.
Yeah, somehow
you
I don't
told
know
everybody,
why.
I really feel it's twins. I could be wrong, but I feel it's twins.
Speaking it into reality.
Yeah.
And so.
Ooh, they're kicking now.
Are they kicking?
Woo!
Are they?
Yeah, they're going crazy.
That's crazy.
At least one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's crazy. Yeah, so then you like kind of smiled and you're like, you looked shocked though. I mean, even though you thought so, to hear it is like.
It's weird. It's like if you think in your heart of hearts that you're going to win the lottery and then you actually do, it's still shocking because you know you're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the reasons why, like, you know, a lot of these sports athletes kind of players or MMA fighters or boxers, like they envision the outcome before it goes down.
Yeah.
But when it does actually happen, I think they're still like,
you're still totally
that's why
shocked.
They cry. And,
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So it's like I was shocked.
You looked stunned.
Yeah, I was pretty stunned.
But then you laughed and. Of course, I was, slightly crying. I was just stoked, but
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So the whole thing has been a surprise. So we go from, wow, we're pregnant to, wow, all these weeks later, we didn't even know we're having two.
Well, for like one of the reasons why I thought is because I'm a twin.
Mm-hmm.
My twin brother was stillborn, so he didn't make it. And you have twins on your side. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm 42 and you're 39 or 38.
And they say your chances go up.
So, so your chances go up. And so, I just knew because the whole time, like you never really seemed like you were all that excited about being pregnant.
Yeah.
And this pregnancy is actually confirming that.
Yeah.
Because you're having a hard pregnancy.
Woo.
And so I think it was kind of like God saying like, okay. Like,
you don't have to do it again.
Like
because we never wanted just one kid, you know, even at our age. So it's a huge blessing. I think that's why I was tearing up, I think, too, because I thought this is it is a gift because it took the pressure off of having to do this. Yeah, because it has been rough. But
okay, so I'm making a prediction here on the air, live on the air.
Oh, brother.
So I think that lady was not correct. I think there's either one boy and one girl, or two boys and one girl she didn't see.
Hiding behind the
So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I feel like it's...
So you think, she said two boys, you think it's either a boy and a girl or two boys and then there's one hiding and we're actually having triplets.
Uh-huh.
And that would be a girl.
So I'm 1 for 1 already.
All right.
So trust me.
Okay. I don't know if I want to. I'm like 3 seems a bit much.
That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm curious to see.
That would be absolutely crazy.
That would be crazy.
By the way, Sylvie just signed up to the Academy.
I saw that.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, she just signed up.
What a good Valentine Day to herself. It's Valentine's Day.
I know. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
For those of you who don't know what the Academy is, it's our sort of in-depth training access website where it's personal. It's a membership website, and we're doing courses and high-level stuff inside the Academy, teaching all the different things that we talk about on the show, in a practical how-to manner. So there's a forum, an amazing community in there. We're doing monthly courses.
So fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Some of the most amazing people. We've attracted like the best people.
We really have. People's energy and people's like kindness has been so great to each other, to us. It's been awesome. Yeah, it's been really fun it's really cool to meet people and just listen to their stories. And, you know, like someone will post a question about something and then there was like 3 or 4 responses already within like a few hours. You know, it's really cool. It really is a neat place where I think people are feeling heard, you know? Yeah. So that was cool to see Sylvie. Yeah, I saw that a little bit ago. I don't want to interrupt you. That's awesome. Yeah. So, what else? So with the pregnancy, initially we were going to go, so we're still kind of in flux. Yeah. With it. Yeah. This is an interesting place to be. Yeah. So I'll share a little bit about my thoughts and my, you know, understanding. It's similar to how we are with when we first learned about alternative health and all the stuff that we're learning. It's like you want to shout it from the rooftops because you want to like help people and you want them to say like, dude, there's other options. Like you don't have to go through the medical system. Right. And you want to just be like a proponent and a evangelist for that.
But then after some maturity, you start realizing that like the more you try to change other people, the more sick you become. And I shared a video about this on our Instagram stories a while back, but that's just the truth is when you become a creator or a crusader for other people's lives, it never works out for you. And so at some point, ultimately you give up you just support people in the direction they're going, you know? And so like people at the beginning would say to me like, oh, you're going to hate me because I'm eating pizza.
Yeah.
And I never once was like
putting that on them. It's just kind of cause and effect, you know, like you get the results of eating pizza by eating pizza. Right.
And, you know, I support anybody. I can go to a pizza restaurant and have a salad and hang out with someone drinking beer and pizza. And I don't think that I have so I've let go of all of that, trying to change people. So when I first started learning about natural birth and start realizing not just the dangers of hospital births, but also all of the amazing benefits of home births or births maybe at a birth center with a midwife and a doula, you know, how amazing that is. So then you want to be like, everyone should give birth this way. And you start becoming an evangelist for that. Until you realize and you start growing up a little bit, realizing that everybody's different. Everyone's circumstance is different. So then I'm like, okay, well, obviously you want to guard against the over medicalization of birthing, which they've turned it into a medical procedure.
Yeah.
You want to guard against that. But you also want to be like, you can't be afraid and fearful, and you can't let this turn into a fear thing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm learning to let go. Like as much as I want you to want to give birth at home or in a birthing center, I'm not the one that has twins growing inside me. And that's not up to me to make that decision. So for me, I'm learning to let go of all of that and supporting you in whatever decision you want to make.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me because I want things to be a certain way, but you never get what you want by pushing other people to do it for you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a hard thing for me to let go.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
well, it's hard too, because I mean, you are half of this. You're just not the one, you're not the one carrying, but it's when you have a partnership that you really value, it's like you do want to do things for, even if you don't want to do it yourself, you want to do it for the other person.
Right.
And that's hard to let go of too, because you're like, I don't want to disappoint this person. I don't want to feel guilt. I don't want to it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, you know, your level of threshold of pain and you know what you want to do versus what you don't want to do, you know, and, you know, it's challenging.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I find it interesting is I came to a place through, you know, doing spiritual work and a lot of heavy work in the last, I'd say like for sure 5 years of, because I've always had this fear of birth. Like,
have you?
Ever since I've been a kid, that's something that's always been looming. Like, it's almost like that's going to be the ultimate way to feel trapped. Like, you're so in this thing and there's one way out, and no matter what that means.
It's so crazy because like Pam Crane was saying, in a past life, you were like an herbalist and you got put in jail. And so talk about feeling trapped.
Yeah.
That's probably why you don't like to drive in cars with people and feel like you have to rely on them for a ride home if you want to leave and they don't.
I've always felt claustrophobic and like things have been taken from me.
So that makes sense.
It's weird. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of spiritual things playing into that fear, I'm sure. But
what if, see, this is the thing about like growing up. Like, I think we talked about this on the Mama Natural show.
Okay. Is
that like kids aren't exposed to birth or death.
Yeah,
so like what kid has ever been in the room with someone giving a natural birth? It just doesn't
hardly
happen.
Anyone. Yeah. Some, but hardly. You know?
So like what if you had that fear growing up, what if you had an aunt or something that was living close by that was having a birth like that and it was a beautiful experience, you know?
Well, it's interesting too, because some of it, you just wonder how much of it is just passed down to you and has nothing to do with like a past life or a, you know, that could all be true or none of it could be true. But like my mom had a miscarriage between my older sister and I. So it would have been an older brother, and I think she carried that baby to like 4.5, 5 months. So that's kind of far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at now. I mean, basically probably a couple weeks less than we are now when she miscarried. But I thought, you know, I'm sure. Knowing my mom, I mean, she's a pretty worried person.
Right.
Not only did she worry over that whole thing, but then when she got pregnant with me, I'm sure she worried more than she did with my sister. Like, just see, is this going to stick? Is this going to happen again? So I have all this fear, and I'm sure there was a lot of fear holding me to the very end of that pregnancy, making sure I was going to make it. So
yeah, I'm sure all of that fear and worry came onto you.
So I battled that, and then coming to terms in the last few years of going, an out of hospital birthing center, I'm open to that. So when we got pregnant, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm okay with this. I actually felt comfortable with. I loved the birthing center here in Orange County. We felt really like the people were awesome, very knowledgeable. I thought this is the perfect scenario for me because, God forbid something were to happen, or I am just super over the pain or the labor after a certain amount of time. You're only 5-minute drive from a hospital, and I have options. I felt good about that, even though I want to be the one who doesn't say I need options. I still am that kind of person who it might do more. I was reading a Mama Natural's book about epidurals, and she's like, there are people that they're just a really good candidate. Like, if it's going to be more stressful for you to have to fight why you're not getting an epidural and to stress out about it, and it's going to bring you all this anxiety, it's probably better for you to get an epidural if you're one of those people, because you have so much anxiety going into this thing that it actually helps your body relax. And
So, by the way, okay, so I just want to say something. It's just interesting that both you and I are exposed to information that we should be, given the line of work that we're in, diametrically opposed to.
Yeah.
Because here's Mama Natural telling you about there may be certain people that are okay with
might be beneficial,
epidural, right? So we had Janice Barcelo on the show, and she's talking about like cord blood and early clamping and Satanism and all these weird things that go on in hospitals, but it's weird that you have Mama Natural saying that, and then I come from a background of my mom having gone through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, bone marrow transplant, all of that. And we are supposed to be saying here in Extreme Health Radio that conventional medicine doesn't work. Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by work, but that was 21 years ago or 23 years ago, 1995.
With a 5% chance of living
with
or something?
With a 5% chance of living. Yeah. So,
and your mom's here.
And my mom's here. Yeah. Has her body been radically affected by chemotherapy and radiation? Totally.
Right.
And so far, I mean, it's a slow process, but I mean, she hasn't done much to rid her body of that or done any cleansing.
Yeah.
But
so she pays for it every day, but.
So she's like she's
exception.
Yeah, the living example of the exception of what our entire show is about.
I know.
Then you have Mama Natural saying the same thing to you. So it's like, okay, so how do you it's like what do you call that? What's the word for two opposing things to be true? It's got a word for it. I
don't know.
What's the word for
diametrically opposed things?
Yeah, two things.
Yeah, I know.
It's got a certain word. If you know the word.
What you mean. Yeah. Emailed in.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive.
Okay, so it's like you have this cognitive dissonance happening. And so it's just interesting that you and I are like exposed to this kind of experience or information that shouldn't be happening.
I know.
And I don't like to propagate, and I almost don't like to admit it because my part of me wants to say that, like, yeah, the medical paradigm is horrible. They're evil. They don't know what they're doing.
We'll do
they're
anything
drugging
we can
people
do to stay out of it.
Yeah, but
right.
I don't know if my mom would be here if she did 100% natural. I mean, probably, but there's no way of knowing that.
I know.
And I don't recommend it to people.
Right.
Just like Mama Natural probably doesn't recommend.
That's not your first course of action, right? But I mean,
it's just weird, isn't it? It's interesting.
It is hard, and it's so true. Those are really good examples. Your mom's thing, and then now us with the twins, because it's like, oh, we felt like we had control over this. We were able to pick the birthing center, feel really good about it. I was feeling confident. You were happy with it. Like, we were all just this happy, well, this is what it is, and we're all okay. And then to go from that to like, oh, when you get the twin diagnosis, if you want to call it a diagnosis.
Yeah, twin, whatever. Yeah.
They X you out of it. They pass you off. They're not legally, I believe, allowed midwives to deliver twins at a birthing center.
Yeah.
Or multiples.
So that's where it
got us.
That's
We're
the
rub.
Okay,
here we are now. Like, so now we have a whole new set of circumstances.
And not only that, it's not just that facility. I think all facilities, right, don't take twins if you're a birthing center.
Right.
Okay, so then you kind of have your two other options are kind of two other options and then a hybrid of those two options. One is complete just hospital birth.
Right.
Or you could could try to bring a midwife and a doula into a hospital.
And have an experience that's close to what you would have wanted.
Or you could do a complete home birth.
You could go rogue.
With a medical doctor, which we're looking at. Or
midwife. I think they can do home.
Yeah, that's right. A midwife. Or we're looking at trying to see if this medical doctor will do something at the birthing center.
Right.
So there's a few options, but it's like, when you have twins, all of a sudden it's like, okay, man, this whole thing of like this whole health journey for all of us and everybody, it's like when you have even your friends or family, like, someone's dealing with diabetes or cancer or something or heart disease, and they just don't want to do any of the things that are going to heal them.
Yeah.
And you as a son or daughter, it's like, you just have to let go.
I know.
I can't control these people.
I know.
I can't be responsible for their healing. And, so this is what's happening with us with this thing is like, okay, now we're just going to see what
the ride.
Yeah, we're along for the ride.
And we're making informed choices. And it's still like we're, as of right now, even though we were referred to a doctor who we've seen once, who was on the more natural side, says the birthing center that referred me. But either you and I, we both weren't impressed with him. We talked about that on the show we did with Dr. Bergman in the studio.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. We just mentioned how it was just so like not our style and we didn't jive with him. And,
yeah,
the things that I had wishes about didn't really feel heard, or he still was making it sound like, you're just in a different world when you got twins. You got to, you have to, unfortunately, it's probably better to do more scans. And now we're going to test you for this test. And I'm like, I still don't want that stuff. Like, I know that I'm probably not going to be one who just gets one scan. I'm not. Like, that's not ideal for me, but I'm probably going to have a few. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And I've given into that. But then, it's like, what person do you go with? Do you go on a spiritual level of what you feel like, it's still hard to overcome new fears, though, because then you have a whole new set of fears. Now you have two to think about and what that would mean if you did a home birth or a birth center or, if something... and then the pain of the fibroid. I had flare-ups a couple times in the last month where you're just like leveled crying in pain about like how bad this fibroid pain can be. And you're like, oh gosh, like if I'm already feeling like that over something, a tumor type thing in my body, what am I going to be able to hack that? I mean, you really, it's hard. I don't want to be that person that admits that I am nervous about that,
Right. Yeah. I can understand.
Can I do it? And like at some point, are you going to want the drugs? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I get it.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
It's hard.
It's one of those things where I feel like these kids have been sort of prayed over and prophesied over. And, for some reason I knew there was going to be twins. And so, we're not going to do obviously a lot of the really bad stuff, but
right.
Regardless, it's amazing what in human life like is able to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I mean, I think part of my journey too is learning to let go.
Yeah.
And I think that's everyone's journey in life to some degree is letting go of ultimately your own life.
Right.
Because you can't hold on to everything. And, but then also there's a balance of like, okay, learning to let go, but then not letting some guy in a white coat tell me,
over.
Yeah, and try to bowl me over when I know exactly what he's doing. And I know more about this, at least the natural side of the process than he does.
Yeah, for
sure.
And
so in terms of if you want to turn this into a medical procedure, obviously you know more about it than I do because you've artificially turned this into something that's not.
Right.
But if you want to talk about the natural way that children have been being born, like I was telling you after this, or after we saw that last doctor, if it weren't for natural birth, he wouldn't be alive.
Right. A couple generations ago, everyone was having their kids at home, and
everybody
nobody did any of this test. I mean, it was so different.
40,000 years ago, this is the way everybody was born.
And to that, more people would say, "Oh, well, more people died. Women died all the time giving birth." And I'm like, "Yeah, but people die now. I mean, just as many people die. Maybe childbirth is quote safer." Now that you're in hospitals and they can save more people, but more people are dying in car accidents when people weren't hurtling through space at 70 miles an hour on a freeway. I mean, there's just different things that have taken on. So you can't live by that either,
Well, this is the thing that gets me too every time. It's like people say, oh, more people die. But like, okay, so what about the people that die as a result of being in the hospital?
Yeah.
And no one talks about that.
I know.
No one talks about that. But if you were to be giving birth, like, if a child dies in a hospital, they think, oh, how unfortunate.
Right.
A child dies giving birth at home. Oh, that the mom is irresponsible. I can't believe she would do something that stupid. It's just so crazy. Like, you know, if it's truly safer to give birth in a hospital, there should be no deaths.
Yeah.
And there should be random deaths of people that give birth at home.
Right.
But that's not the case. It's like across the board, almost even.
Probably is. Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just funny. Our culture's been so just from media to newspapers to articles to, you know, entertainment. We've been so culturally conditioned to believe things a certain way.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre.
Yeah. And then, you know, to not hold on to your pride either and be like, oh, because we have this show, everyone thinks we're doing everything perfect and I have to be this hero and do things a certain way to prove to everyone that I'm the face of the natural birth. It's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing yet. Like,
yeah, you want to.
I don't know what I'm going to choose. I know what is my ideal, but I don't know what is my comfort level at this point, given the new circumstances, and I don't know. And
well, I think that show we did with Melissa Hennig was cool too.
Oh yeah,
the Raw Paleo Melissa.
Yeah.
Because that was interesting because she's very much in this lifestyle and to the tune of eating raw meat during her pregnancy. And raw organ meat, and raw milk and all that kind of stuff, which I think is amazing. Excuse me, but she's, you know, fully in this lifestyle to that extent. And even she, did she have birth in a hospital or C-section?
She had a C-section because all her amniotic fluid completely dried up.
Yeah.
She was 2 weeks, I think, overdue. And at that point even her midwife was like, yeah, we gotta, you know, and it wasn't anything what she saw either, but she let go. And her talking about it now, I was like, whatever, like,
yeah.
Kid's here, he's safe, and I love him, and it wasn't what I had planned, but that's the way that it went. So,
yeah, so it's challenging.
It's hard.
You know, it's a challenging thing. But ultimately, I think what matters is that you protect them and you love them and you try to give them as the first resort, you know, a natural experience without drugs and all of that. I mean, the intention, I think they understand that.
Yeah.
Much more than we think they do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's one of the most important things. And it's just challenging because, like, you know, people say things to me like, oh, are you, so Kate is, you know, you guys are going to go see a regular doctor, right?
You're talking about like family, right?
Yeah. And it's like, what do you mean by a regular? Well, I mean a medical doctor. Oh, so a medical doctor's right. Okay. So 130 years ago, before there was modern medicine and the Rockefeller set up institution and business of medicine, what did you say then? Did you use the word medical? No, because it hasn't been invented yet. And so it's just funny, this cultural programming that we have and having to defend. And I was telling you this morning, remember on our walk with the dogs, that it's getting to the point now where people, I feel, are like unconscious people are trying to put their fears onto us. And it's getting to the point now where I'm going to protect, like,
your
you know, if you're not
territory.
going to tell me something positive here, like if you have a birth experience, if you're a woman and you had a birth experience that you don't think was optimal, and you think was scary and full of fear and drugs and all that kind of stuff and C-section and you couldn't recover and they took your baby away
you were hemorrhaging and the heart rate dropped and you hear all this.
Please do us all a favor and don't share that with, if you have a friend who's giving birth naturally, wants to do that, please just tell them, I love you. I think you can do it. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Don't share all of that bad stuff because as a pregnant person, we're all filled with so much fear regarding birth enough as it is. Yeah. And so if you don't have something positive to share with a pregnant person who's trying to do it naturally or trying to just adopt some natural things into a pregnancy or in birth, like,
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, there's no reason to share negativity or fear because there's already way too much of it.
Not even just with birth. I mean, people are so funny. People do that with like cancer. Somebody just got diagnosed with cancer. Like people have come up to them and been like, "Oh, my aunt had that same kind of cancer. She died."
Yeah.
And you're like, what the? Like, why are you
sharing
she
that?
fought a good battle and she died. You're like, what? And like, that just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's not adding to anyone's life. It's not adding
It's so frustrating because it's
so
like,
frustrating.
and it's like certain people,
no
like,
filter.
Well, you said someone recently, someone at your work or someone who should have known better said something to someone else about how what they could have had could lead to death or something.
Oh, Oh yeah, what was that?
Was that about?
So this guy that we know, he went to the hospital with the flu, like really bad, the flu virus going around, whatever. But he had a couple days of just not feeling well, and then by the time they tested him for quote the flu, he had it at the hospital, whatever that means. But he was losing his vision.
Which, by the way, I got to talk with you about that.
Okay, yeah,
that bit, because we had a good conversation about that the other day.
He was losing his vision, and it was scaring him, and so he talked with a.
This was after he had been treated already.
He was in the middle. They were testing to make sure he didn't have any other things going on.
But I believe they already gave him antibiotics and some kind of
like
flu shot.
Fluids.
And then he was
not a flu shot. They were running the IVs through him to give him medicine.
Yeah.
And a friend of his that he knows really well, a good friend, it's also a
like a naturopath, right?
Not a naturopath, a nutritionist.
Okay.
But super turned on. She sends him a text or something with 3 different things that she looked up online that it could be with his symptoms. It was like, you could have a brain tumor, you could have a degenerative disease, it could be the beginning of. I mean, it was just so insane when someone's in the hospital waiting for results of a scan to be like, yeah, you might have a brain tumor. Like, what in the world?
I know. Someone
who's on the net, and she's really naturally minded from what I know. And I know enough about her from people that I know that have worked with her. That's the most insane. That's just insane to me.
Yeah. People need to, you gotta
protect your space and
you got to protect your space. You got to protect from people trying to put fear and negativity on you.
People open their mouths and say the weirdest things.
It's so crazy.
So crazy.
You got to protect yourself from people like that. And someone was talking to me recently, and I was sharing some stuff to me, and I said, they wanted to share a story with me, and I said, is this positive? Is this good, empowering information? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, good, because we're not letting anything negative come to Kate right now.
Right.
It's
doesn't want to hear another story about people with fibroids or twins being born and going to the NICU when they were 3 pounds.
No, it's not.
I don't want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, so we're putting the stop to that.
Good.
But what I thought was interesting about the flu shot,
and then we'll go back to real quick the list of the
supplements. Yeah,
we'll move on.
So what I thought was interesting, because this whole flu thing is going around like crazy right now, and people are talking about it, people are spreading so much fear about it and all this stuff. And so that person that you were just mentioning went to go get flu shot, or went to the hospital because the flu was really bad for them and whatever. And as the story goes, according to how I remember it, which is only just recently, that they were given IV bags, some antibiotics, and a flu shot. And then
I don't think they got a flu shot.
They were released, went home, and then the vision started going away, and the fever went up and all this stuff. And then he came back to the hospital, to get
and then
more.
needed an MRI and all this other stuff.
So I was thinking, kind of the conspiratorial mindset is.
And he's your age, by the way.
Yeah.
Healthy, young 40s.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Super weird.
I mean, healthy for an average person.
Sure, right.
Who doesn't, focus on their health or try to be healthy.
Right.
But I was thinking how, so they did some testing. They said, yeah, you
tested positive for the strain of flu that's wiping out everyone. Yes.
Right. So you have this XYZ flu that we're going to give a name to. Right. So is it possible that that the people who do the testing, I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. So is it possible that the people that do the testing look for specific markers on the test, and those specific markers were given to them by pharmaceutical reps, the AMA, passed down from the CDC or something, and those markers are what they're to do testing for, and that indicates XYZ flu. So then the person doing the test and the doctor that delivers the results is okay, yeah, you do, we tested for these markers and they're there.
Right.
So you have XYZ flu. But so those people that are the middlemen kind of are sort of exonerated because they don't really know what's really going on.
Right.
But it could be like the AIDS testing where, people are tested with AIDS, but what they're doing the testing for, everyone on earth has. And so everyone's going to show positive for an HIV virus, which makes me laugh because of the funny correlation with Janine Garofalo in, what's that movie called?
Reality Bites.
Remember she keeps getting AIDS testing?
She keeps sleeping around and she keeps thinking she's dying of AIDS.
I'm dying of AIDS.
Oh, brother. She's so dramatic.
But so...
Vicky Minor.
Is that her name?
They call her name and she's like,
I'm
she's
sitting
here probably dying of AIDS.
probably diagnosed. But so with AIDS testing, most people are going to show up positive. And so I'm just wondering, like, in order to create so much fear, because you're already laying the groundwork of the fear through media and propaganda and news articles and entertainment for the flu vaccination. And so when someone comes up with symptoms and they're like, normally they would stay at home, but because they have these symptoms, they're like, I'm a little bit more worried than I normally would be because I know this flu is going around because I consume the media. So then you're like, okay, I'm a little worried. It'll last a little too long. Maybe I'll go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, get tested. Boom, comes back. So is it possible that these people are being falsely identified as having some sort of really bad strain of the flu so that you can give them antibiotics and the flu shot, medication, whatever flu strain virus that they've come up with? I think that's entirely possible. If I were someone who had no soul and I was like a reptilian David Icke, pharmaceutical rep or pharmaceutical whatever, I wanted to maximize profits, I would do that.
Yeah. It's nefarious.
Yeah, right? I mean, you basically create customers through fear. Like, it's genius.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
You hate to think that everything's that, like, evil.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know what's true. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think there's any way for us to know, but it wouldn't. If someone were to come forth and say that, I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me at all.
Well, it's like all those doctors. I mean, you hear about multiple doctors who diagnose people with cancer wrongly, Oh, on purpose, yeah. So, I mean, that definitely goes on. I mean, that's a proven thing in the courts. I mean, there's some bad seeds out there, but... Yeah, that's true. Like, we were using the example at Christmas time, my little 5-year-old niece, our 5-year-old niece had to have her appendix out because her appendix ruptured. But anyway, she'd been having all these symptoms, and she had already had a collapsed intestine, like a couple more months before that, and had surgery. Crazy, right? 5 years old. 5 years old. Oh, my gosh. But the thing is like, the doctor comes in, and after all these scans and, 12 hours of trying to test to find out what's really going on. Right. If it's a reoccurrence of the thing or if it's another problem. They come in and say, her appendix is either ruptured or about to rupture, or we're going to take it out and haul her over to a special, put her in an ambulance, take her to a team of people and get it out. And I'm thinking, and they did the surgery, they took it out, they said it had ruptured, and she was starting to feel way better. I mean, she was going downhill. So something was wrong in her body. Right. But I'm like, gosh, like, did her parents ask to see anything that supported that diagnosis? Claim. I'd be like, man, if you want to take my kid's organ out, I'm trusting you. I mean, that's the thing, is people trust everything they're told. Like, they're trust that they got the flu, they have the flu because the people at the hospital told them that the test was positive, or they trust that their appendix is about to rupture because and that might be true. I mean, her appendix probably did rupture, and I don't think that's just evil, but how many times do they perform unnecessary things because of either money or even just ignorance? Maybe they're not it's like, would all of these claims, the diagnosis is basically a claim. Right. And so would all of these claims hold up in a scientific court of law? Like, not just a regular court of law, but an actual scientific court of law where you had to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that this process is currently being propagated in someone's body at that time. Right. Like, it's like murder cases where you have to be beyond the shadow of a doubt that this person committed this crime, and there has to be tons of different evidence. And so I feel like a lot of times, maybe sometimes they just say, they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, these things are... Has all the earmarks of this. Yeah, but they don't really know. Well, but then what's worse is, like, what you're saying is the person receiving the news just says, okay, yeah, take the appendix out. They should be the ones to have more evidence of this, because you're removing an organ that will never be there again. Right. Well, this is another weird case in point. A woman I work with, her husband, this is really weird, just earlier this week. Have you told me this yet or no? Yeah. You have, okay. He was acting confused, I guess. He's a 54-year-old guy, super fit, works out, never had a problem. Acting confused one night, like really weird. So they take him to the ER, and they're in the ER, waiting to get tests and stuff, and he flatlines. Like, he just totally, basically dies. So they bring him back, they save his life, which is great. They were at an emergency for that. Right. They do all this testing, and they're like, yeah, it's your heart. It's some electrical thing, and you're going to need a permanent pacemaker. The guy's never had a heart thing in his life, right? Okay. So they whisk him into surgery. They give him a permanent pacemaker and send him, keep him a couple nights. Okay, you passed all these tests. You're good to go. Send you home. Mm-hmm. So they send him home, and everybody's like reeling from that, going, what the heck? Like, nobody saw that coming, you know? It's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So then you think, okay, well, he has a pacemaker. It was clearly something wrong with his heart, I guess. And now he's going to recover. Well, like, he'd been home 2 days.
After that.
Yeah. And I get this text saying, you know, prayers, please. You know, he's back in the hospital. He's been having seizures all night. Like, he started seizing. So now he's having, like, this other weird, like, so was it his heart? I mean, was it his heart?
He had the pacemaker.
Yeah, he got the pacemaker put in.
And then he's seizing.
So he's obviously having a response, whether it's some response to what he just had the surgery, or it's something that he would have had anyway, whether he had the pacemaker. It's like something's going on, and it just makes you wonder. I'm like, what if it wasn't even, but what if whatever's causing these seizures was also causing the heart electrical problem?
Right.
And it wasn't like he needed a pacemaker. I mean, you just, there's no way to know yet, and he's still in the hospital now. I don't even know if they quite know what's going on with him. This just happened, but that's the kind of stuff where you're like, oh my gosh, like you hope to God that you're making, you don't want to be fearful, but you want to make the right choice. And I'm like, what are they? I mean, they're basing it off of one episode that the guy had where yeah, it's a big deal if you flatline. You don't want that to be a reoccurring thing. But I mean, do you go in and like do something super invasive, or I don't know. It's a trip.
That is just really blows my mind. You know, it's like complete trust of testing in this medical system. It's like, I understand it to some degree, but man, that's just rough.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really rough.
Yeah. Speaking of rough, so do you want to break down really quick how this pregnancy's gone, and then I'll read the things I have been doing?
Yeah, let's do it. So a lot of people have been asking like what we're doing and all kinds of stuff. So
we've been doing a bunch of good things, but here's we'll give the quick breakdown of everything that's been hard. This is why it's been a hard pregnancy. The day we found out we were pregnant, that night I got the worst like flu of my life. It lasted for 2 months.
2 months.
2 months where I could not stop coughing. I was coughing so hard one time I thought I like broke a rib, tore something way down low where the kid was. Like it was horrible. I was sleeping on the couch for a month.
Yeah, it just wouldn't stop.
It wouldn't stop. I had to literally hold my leg up to my rib cage when I coughed because I was coughing so violent. It felt like things were just, I was a mess.
And one of the issues with that is that typically we have so many tools here to use, like the sauna I'm using right now as we're doing this, a SOTA magnetic pulsar while we're doing this interview.
A Rife machine, an IMRS mat.
Yeah.
All the things I've usually been able to combat.
The Q laser.
And
all this stuff that you would normally be able to use because we can, have such success. But you can't do a lot of that stuff.
Well, and even some herbs, they say, stay away from the herbs. They can cause you to miscarry. So I was very limited.
So you just had to let the body just drink water and
silver, accelerated silver from Sarah Banta. I mean,
yeah.
But still, I wasn't getting any better. It was the gnarliest sick I've ever been in my life, ever. That was horrible. So that happened, and then and you're trying to care for your body and care for a kid. So that passes barely, and like 2 days after that, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of bouncing back. I get the morning sickness thing. Food aversions, wanting to throw up, feeling really gross. That lasted about maybe only 3 weeks, which wasn't that bad.
Right.
Maybe a month. Like, not horrible. But bad enough to tweak you.
Right.
So I had that. And in between both of those, I broke my toe.
Mm-hmm.
Then I broke my other toe, I think. I didn't get an x-ray on that one because I didn't want to x-ray when you're pregnant. Mm-hmm. So I'm hobbling around. I'm still coughing, residual coughing. I'm trying not to throw up, and I'm having to eat some things to soak up this morning sickness that I never would eat, like sourdough bread, but I'm like just trying to survive at this point. It's just all stuff that I would not ideally want for myself.
Totally.
So I do all that, and then I'm feeling a bit better. I start recovering from the feeling morning sickness stuff, and I'm like, oh, I feel like actually eating better now. So I go to Whole Foods and Sprouts, and I start eating all these salads, and I'm like, oh, I'm bouncing back. I'm like, well, then I get the worst food poisoning of my life. Like, it lasted 11 days of where I'm I wanted to vomit, but I didn't, but it was just severe diarrhea, cramping, fever, chill stuff. It was horrible. It was horrible.
I know. And you weren't even fully recovered from the cough
Wasn't fully recovered from the cough. Oh, it was just,
And one of the things too, I think is really important is that even if you weren't pregnant, you still wouldn't have taken something like a flu shot because it's super important to let your body go through that and create antibodies and understand how to overcome these adversities. It's like going to the gym. So it's like you weren't even recovered from that yet. And then you got this food poisoning.
Yeah. And then I looked, I have no idea. I have no idea if this is even true, but there was an E. coli outbreak from romaine lettuce.
I remember that.
And they said especially stay away from salad bars. And here I'd been eating salads for maybe like 3 weeks, just solid salads.
Romaine lettuce at a salad bar.
Romaine lettuce at a salad bar. Yeah. Even though it's like a Whole Foods, they say not a good idea.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I was pretty sure I had E. coli. I mean, it was bad, you know.
Yeah, it was. I lived through it. I witnessed you all the way through.
Oh man, you've been a trooper. So then, and then on top of it all, I can't sleep because of my liver pain. Like the pain in my liver has been just horrendous. So I can't sleep on either side. Then I get on my back. Then I get really sore because of the tension, just this growing stomach really fast. There's a lot of pressure,
So what we think is that there's either the kid, the placenta, one of the kids, or one of the placentas, or the fibroid. I won't even say your fibroid. It's the fibroid. Is pushing against your liver physically.
Yeah.
Because the testing came back, everything was fine with your liver.
Right.
But I think something's just happening where something's pushing against it, causing this insane amount of pain.
And it's when I try to sleep, so I can't sleep. So then I'm sleep deprived. There's no way to sleep comfortably.
Remember, your mom said you can't feel your liver.
Oh yeah. How do you don't know it's your liver. Yeah, I pretty much do.
No one can feel their liver.
No. Yeah. Very, very rare are the people who are very like sensitive to their organs, and I always have been,
Right.
It's crazy to say stuff like that.
I know, right?
Totally knew it was my liver.
Mm-hmm.
And then fibroid flare-ups on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Which was just a couple nights ago.
I've had 2 or 3 of those this pregnancy, which are gnarly when they happen. They level you. It's just like the worst pain ever. You can't really do much either, but wait it out, spray magnesium oil on your belly, rub it in, and take some white willow bark and just pray. It's gnarly. And then really bad hormone headaches where I saw the like aura, like I'd see I'm talking migraine, and then you're just like, I want to be in a dark room, I want to throw up. Like it's been crazy.
Yeah.
And then to feel winded, like right now, this whole show, I'm like, I can't catch my breath. Like I can't do the workouts I've wanted. I mean, I'm really uncomfortable. I can't get off the couch. Like you have to pull me up because I have no.
And I've had to do that for like a month and a half.
Yeah, when I'm like, oh, this is not normal. Like most people, and I have these friends that are going through having kids right now too, and they kind of had the morning sickness thing. Then that passed, and they're like, I pretty much feel good. I can go do all these things, and mine just continues to get really interesting.
Yeah, it's
So it hasn't been easy.
So this is the kind of a thing where it's like you have this is kind of a microcosm of an issue that I see coming up in the forums in the academy is people that really take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. Why are they experiencing all kinds of health issues? Because you see like people like your sister or other people who probably zero supplementation, no, just eating toxic foods.
Putting cell phones next to their stomach when they're like resting.
Which, by the way, we have a really great product that if you guys are interested, called the Belly Armor.
Look, I'm wearing it right now.
You're wearing it right now? Nice.
I'm flashing you.
Nice.
Camisole has been the best thing to protect from anyone who's pregnant, man.
So if you know anyone that's pregnant, this is really cool EMF protecting clothing that you can wear to cover your baby bump called Belly Armor.
Yeah.
So I'll put a link to that in the show notes.
And you sitting at a computer all day, they have men's boxers or underwear.
Yep.
You can protect your junk.
Mm-hmm. I'm wearing that right now.
Which is good.
So the real issue is like you see other people that don't take care of themselves the way we do, and you think like in this case it's comparing yourself to someone who doesn't take care of themselves who's also pregnant.
Right.
But in just regular life, it's just people like your friends and family who seemingly never get sick, and here we are taking care of ourselves, and we're laid up with the flu for
getting one thing after another
3 weeks. So it's just one of those things where it's like, oh man, like you want to be a good representation of living a natural lifestyle, but then it really frustrates you because you're like, why is my friend having this most amazing pregnancy? And there's all she does is post pictures of her flying in airplanes, eating pizza,
going to Hawaii, going to Cabo, like in the water with their cute little pregnant bellies.
It's all not fair, right? It's like you want to just throw your hands up and you're like, what? Yeah. So, but it's one of those things, though. I think it's important for people to understand the principles of life that, there may be snags and hiccups for all of us. Here and there. But the basic principle is you take care of your body and your body's going to work properly.
Yeah.
That's the basic principle. So even though if someone is getting really good results and they're not taking care of their body, that's an anomaly. But it's also an anomaly when you and I take good care of ourselves and every now and then we get sick or someone has a bad pregnancy or something.
Yeah.
That's an anomaly.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often. So the general idea of, it's like a car, you know, I don't like to reduce the human body to a mechanical device like a car, but it's the same principle applies. You take care of your car. My dad's car is from 1991.
Right.
And it runs
running
perfect.
like a trooper. Right.
And I've gone through like 3 cars because I until recently, I never took care of my car.
Right.
So that basic principle stands true. It's like,
it is true.
In general, on average, the people who take care of themselves are going to live healthier, longer, happier lives.
Yeah.
But
it's surprising when it happens to you, though, and you're like, I've detoxed.
I've done all this stuff.
I work out. I feel good. I was getting to such a good place in my health where I thought, okay, there's hope for this
I know.
pregnancy.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Sometimes.
It's surprising.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to admit. It's hard.
And you get mad.
Yeah, I do get mad at times, and I wish I didn't, but I do, because I see all these other people having,
easy pregnancies.
Yeah, let alone flying. It's like, you and I couldn't even drive to a wedding in Tucson, which isn't more than 6 hours away or whatever, because it's like just really uncomfortable to be in a car. Like, that's how crazy uncomfortable I've been, you know?
Right. So. And it is different, too. I mean, granted, you have twins, and all of them don't, but... well, we get 2 for 1. There you go.
So at some point, I'm like, the silver lining is we don't have to give birth twice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I shouldn't say have to. It's a gift, and I know that, but we don't have to do it twice in order to get 2 kids.
Yeah, if we don't want to. Yeah.
The good things I have been doing.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Though. Yeah, this is good. The things I've.
So I'll make a list of these really quickly. Let me say before you list some of these things off, we're going to put links to all of these in the show notes. So let me make sure I get the actual show number. So don't feel like you have to write these down right now.
Oh, good call.
This is going to be episode 562.
Okay.
So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/562, we'll have all the links there. So I've already got stuff like the belly armor and the silver and the soda machine and the Mama Natural course.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Which I recommend everyone get that we're going through right now. So anything you say right now, I'll add to the show notes 562.
Awesome sauce. That's what I take every day. Awesome sauce.
Yeah, it's a sauce. It's just awesome.
No. I have been doing a bunch of bone broth.
Okay.
I've been either making soups with chicken bones and all kinds of yummy vegetables and stuff.
Incredible for amino acid profiles, elasticity, sulfur.
Me as well with my growing belly and
collagen.
You make this killer drink in the mornings that has like all this really good stuff in it, and there's gelatin, beef gelatin in there.
Right.
So I've been getting some bone broth. I probably could do more, but I've been doing that. Liquid light minerals. You turned me on to those.
Yes. So liquid light minerals are, just really quick for people to know, they are put out by Sun Warrior, and they contain all 92 minerals, organic, carbon bonded for us, so your body thinks they're food. And so it's wrapped in fulvic acid, so
it's assimilating into your body.
It
should be.
And most people are living on like 30 minerals.
Yeah.
So yeah, liquid light is an awesome supplement. I like that one a lot.
Okay. I've been doing folate.
Folate, right?
Which is good. Different than folic acid.
Yes.
And folate's been really crucial for baby building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole pregnancy.
The whole pregnancy, yeah.
It's been good. D3.
D3.
Everybody says that pregnant women are, and people in general, are typically low in D3.
Should I link out to every one of these, do you think, or just the certain products?
Certain ones.
Yeah, okay.
We've been doing vitamin liquid B12.
Yeah, that's right, B12.
I've been taking an EPA/DHA capsule along with MitoLife. So you want to link to that one?
Yeah, MitoLife is great.
His DHA has been awesome.
Yeah, MitoLife DHA is really... Man, if people watch that show that I did with Matt Blackburn, really, DHA is one of the most important nutrients you could ever take, whether you're pregnant or not. Right. But it's basically building the immune system, helping the body to hold on to more light, increasing ATP inside the mitochondria. It's doing so many different things. It's basically the one substance that allowed all life to develop using sunshine and it's just an incredible substance.
Building block.
Yeah, it's amazing.
For sure. Magnesium. I've been doing that in like a powder form.
The Calm.
The Calm, I love that stuff. And also
magnesium baths.
I have been taking baths. They said it was fine, as long as you don't get them too hot. I keep it 100 degrees and I put Epsom salt in there, and oh man, it feels so good. Especially like lately I've been getting all the weird leg cramping and stuff, which is pretty typical. But I'm like, the more magnesium, the better. I probably could use more of that. I've been doing, who makes the vitamin C powder I take? I love that stuff.
Oh, Health
Force? Yeah.
I'll link to that.
That's been really good. I'll do that a couple times during the day in my water.
The green powder.
Green powder.
Yeah, that's always good from Organifi.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's on my list here. I have been when we had the silver from Sarah Banta, the accelerated silver. I'll do that, which I believe is. I mean, there's no claims here, but safe for pregnancy. I believe it is.
We did a whole show about that if you guys want to know.
The really good prenatal I've been taking was suggested by Mama Natural on her site, and I don't know if it's in her book. I haven't gone through the whole book yet, but it's a great book, by the way. Is the Thorne Prenatal, THORNE, which is a really safe one for anyone who has that MTHFR mutation, which, it seems like I have the earmarks of all of it. But it's safe for everybody, and it's really been great. I love that one.
Okay.
I have been doing Bilex. I added that back in.
Okay.
I was taking Bilex for a few years on a protocol just to get my nutrition ramped up again, and it kind of just gets your bile going again. And if you have liver, pain and things, I've been trying to help out my liver a little bit and my bile duct in there. Ancient something, the grass-fed beef organ.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Ancient supplements. Is that what
Ancient Nutrition, I think.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
We had heard about that from what was that Natural Summit, Natural Parenting or Natural Child?
Chris Kresser, I think.
Chris Kresser, yeah, and he was interviewing.
Or no, another guy. Both guys have been on. No, Chris Kresser hasn't been on our show, but the other guy was interviewing Chris Kresser about his course, the Healthy Baby Code.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Yeah,
they were mentioning the importance of doing
beef liver and
organ, spleen, heart, like get all that stuff without having to. Raw paleo Melissa, I know it's different and it changes a bit, but she would just be able to down that meat. I had to do it in a different way. So at least I'm getting that because that also helps build all those organs, within the baby
super
and support
good.
Yours, That one's been good. I'm trying to think of what else.
Can you taste the organs? Does it have any adverse anything to you?
No, those are okay.
Yep.
Yeah, those are okay. The prenatals taste worse, to be honest. Those taste kind of funky. The worst is, oh my gosh, if anyone out there takes Bilex, I think it's by Douglas Laboratories. Holy mackerel, you want to get that down quick with some water. It is so gnarly.
Is that the one I take?
Super.
Every now and then?
Yeah. Have you not tasted that?
No.
You probably mix it with other things and down the hatch because that stuff is like...
Oh, you know why? Because anytime I take supplements, I take them before I eat a meal.
Oh,
and that's why nothing ever comes back up.
No, it's not even coming up. It's if you leave it in your mouth too long... Before you swallow it, it's the worst. It's like straight up like you're like drinking bile from out of a cow. It's like and it's like super. It's super tangy and gross. And
oh wow!
They warned me when I first started that nutritional protocol. They're like, "This is one you do not want to bite. Do not bite into it. Just like get it down."
Yeah.
And oh man, are they right? Your mouth will feel like you just bit into like
that's funny.
Some kind of freaky, what is that not noni fruit? What's that thing you ate in Hawaii that like makes your mouth go numb?
Yeah, that's noni.
Ugh. Maybe it was something like that, but
that's funny.
So those are ones. I'm trying to think of anything else.
There's what's the other one? Intramax. Yeah, that one's been huge.
Yeah, that one's great.
Intramax is a supplement that I am really big on because it's similar to Liquid Light, but Liquid Light only contains the minerals. So Intramax contains minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, probiotics. It's amino acids. I mean, it's insane what it has.
Gamut.
Yeah, it's got over 420 nutrients in it. Also carbon bonded and wrapped in fulvic acid, so your body considers it to be food.
Okay.
Because of the way it's carbon bonded. So it doesn't. And it's super highly absorbable because it's a liquid.
Okay.
So, you cannot get that amount of nutrition, 419, I think, minerals, or 92 minerals and 419 different ingredients in every capful. So I cannot recommend that product enough.
And people, I think you do want to be a little cautious though, because at some point when you go through it like crazy, it can actually have a detoxifying effect. So you got to use your brain with that one.
Yeah, in fact, I found out the guy who developed it, Chris Drucker. Is it Drucker? Drucker Labs is the guy that created it. And I found out he's just down in Encinitas.
Oh, no way.
So I invited him on the show.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, to talk about it. But yeah, so the detox protocol, I think you have to work your way up to it eventually. And I think it's like between 5 and 8 capfuls a day.
Oh, I'm sure it's insane amounts.
It's pretty crazy. But Dr. Massey, who I learned about this product from, said that it's one of the only products out there that if you take it in high dosages, if you take it in high dosages, it has the ability to pull heavy metals out of the body.
Dang.
And
which is probably what you're not wanting to do when you're pregnant, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
But you got to take a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it pulls and detoxifies at the same time as it nutrifies.
That's
so
crazy.
It's putting all that stuff in, but then also pulling all the bad stuff out. So it's like not many products can do that.
No.
So Intramax is one of my favorites.
No, that's a good one. I'm glad you knew about that. And then we make our own homemade coconut water kefir.
Oh yeah, that's right.
As a probiotic. Sometimes I'll take another just standard probiotic on the side. Trying to think. I've had wheatgrass shots.
Mm-hmm. Green juices.
I do green juices, even though they warn you not to do non-pasteurized juice.
Oh gosh, fear.
They.
You know what I just found is we're still trying to get Kate on raw egg yolks.
Yeah. Ugh.
But the other day I found a really good way of downing them. You don't even taste it. So I don't do well with the egg white. Mm-hmm. My body doesn't do well with it. So I just do the egg yolk. Mm-hmm. So I fill that little wine glass we have that's like kind of small and it's kind of, it's not very wide. It's like thin.
Yeah, it's stemless.
So I filled up about that much of it with water, like half an inch of water at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And then I crack 2 eggs and I get rid of everything but the yolk and I put the yolks in there. And so the yolks don't stick to the bottom if they're kind of floating in water. And
Smart.
then it's not much liquid at all. And then you have a glass of water right next to it and you can down it. And you don't even taste it. Yeah. You don't smell it. It doesn't come up on your breath. You don't burp it up. Nothing.
Okay.
And you can literally just down that in a second, and you don't even. There's no.
Well, I used to put raw egg yolks in my smoothie. I mean.
Oh yeah.
This is the thing. I'm not afraid of the taste of them. I mean, that's gross. I can get over that. It's that I tested on those allergy testings and what do you call that? Not allergy,
food sensitivity.
Sensitivity is really highly to both the yolk and the.
I did too, though.
And the egg white.
I did as well.
I know.
So somehow I do really great with the raw egg yolk.
Yeah, you're brave.
Yeah, it's not too bad though.
No. I would. Who knows? I'll make my way.
Yeah.
I know that's super important, and I wish I had been doing it more along the way. But, I did do some yogurt. I did some at the beginning. I think I was doing like a raw.
Did we do goat yogurt or?
We did goat. That was at the very beginning, and then for a while there, I was having all the food aversions and didn't do well. I was also doing the raw, unpasteurized cheese, which was really good. Probably need to add that back in again. I've cycled off and on a few things, but in general, I'm trying to, get the good stuff.
Right.
Yeah, what else?
Is there anything else on the list? We made a whole list and a printout.
Yeah.
Anything else on there that we...
I mentioned the green juice powder, or the green juice and wheatgrass, green powder, bone broth, liquid minerals, folate, D3, B12,
Mitolife, DHA,
magnesium, silver, vitamin C, liver capsules. Oh, the high vitamin butter oil. We haven't added that in yet.
Oh yeah. I've done some research on that, and it's I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Well, and under that was the cod liver oil, and those were both things that we're not quite sure when we found a little bit more, so I just haven't done them. Yeah.
I'm a little bit unsure about taking those.
Yeah, what'd you find out about that again?
I forget. There's a guest that I put into our database to have on because she wrote a whole ebook about the dangers of that.
Okay.
And because it's put out by, I forget what company puts it out, but so there's this doctor. Okay, so this is how I found it. Remember, okay, so we're listening to... It's
the
so
rabbit
funny.
trail.
Man, it's so funny how your rabbit trail goes. So we're listening to Chris Kresser's course, and he talked about Dr. Ron. Remember that?
I remember that.
Dr. Ron's liver capsules.
Caps, right.
So then I go on the Dr. Ron site, and I found out that he passed away. Mm-hmm. And then I and then I started researching into like his passing away, and it was due to a heart issue or something. And he had developed this, and he was a master nutritionist, master herbalist. And so he figured out through his own research that it was this high vitamin butter oil that caused his sort of health problems. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing more research, and I found a lady who's written a whole book about high vitamin butter oil. And then, and so apparently it caused like, I don't know, maybe some sort of heart damage or holes in his heart. I don't know exactly what. I got to go back and look at the information. But so that's why I was like,
don't chance.
You can just eat. Oh, you do a lot of ghee.
A lot of ghee.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
And who knows if that was really the reason? But you just got to play it a little more safe, I think. When you're
So.
But Ghee's been huge for sure. The good fats.
Yeah. So
coconut oils.
All kinds of fats, avocado, meats.
Yep.
Chicken and different kinds of meats and
right. And there are a few things, like I said, I wouldn't normally eat. Like when I do make chicken soup, I will add in, gluten-free,
rice pasta
and things like that. That normally I didn't, but I just feel like I need to eat a little bit more out of my box, just because my options so my other diet was so limited. Mm-hmm. I can kind of get away with a little bit more here, and I feel like I'm getting more. Like a variety of food, and it's just all about eating right now.
Yeah. So the Mama Natural course is something you'd recommend to people?
Anybody. She's great.
Yeah,
our show
awesome.
with her might sell you on it because she's just so knowledgeable, just even talking to her. But her book and her course are just killer. So I highly recommend her.
Okay, yeah, so we'll put all this stuff in the show notes, the Mama Natural course, the birth course, the Rife machine, the sauna, the IMRS mat, the soda machine, the belly armor.
All?
Yeah, as well as the liquid light, the DHA. I'd recommend getting on that DHA for anybody.
Yeah, I know.
That's the number one thing.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The Defender Shield.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that's
sitting
right.
right here with my laptop while we record this, and I do not want this laptop near my belly or my body without the Defender Shield under it. That's been a really good one.
Yeah, you got to block all of that non-native EMF that's coming off these electrical devices and wires and dirty electricity and all that stuff.
Got my belly armor on and my Defender Shield.
Nice.
Right at my fingertips.
Yeah, so we'll put a link to all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so a big thank you. Let me make sure. A big thank you to Sylvia for signing up to the Academy.
So fun.
That is so cool.
Does it say what country she's in?
I don't know. Let's see.
Canada.
She's from Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So yeah, we have people in the Academy from Spain, from Europe, from England, Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, Australia,
Portugal,
China. It's
Ireland.
Oh man, it's unbelievable.
It's crazy. Australia.
Yeah. So if you guys want to take your health to the next level, I would highly recommend joining the Academy because we're rolling out a course a month, and like this is high level stuff that we're doing. And it's really practical information and how to really take your health to the next level, tips and ideas and protocols and biohacks and everything that we have been exposed to help take your health to the next level. So, one of the things that I have been exposed to from a lot of different people is different aspects of health that I don't see everyone putting all the pieces together. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'll see guys, talking about light and how important it is to block blue light and get full spectrum sun. And I'm learning a ton about that right now.
Okay.
But they're not putting together the pieces of like recall healing and energy healing and affirmations and personal development or family biology and Gestalt therapy. They're just talking about light.
Yeah.
Then you have the people that are talking about Gestalt therapy and recall healing and family biology, but they're not talking about light.
Right.
Or you have people talking about both those things, but they don't understand certain aspects of food or energy medicine or nutrition or magnetism so there's all these components to healing that I feel like we get exposed to, but you get little pieces from each person.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to start the Academy is like, let's put them all together so that we can give everyone the most resources to increase their chances to having the most success with their health. And it's
health is so multifaceted. So of course we're going to have all these different, it's not just Not just diet. It's not just exercise. It's not
Yeah.
just one thing. I know.
There's
it's not
more
just
to it.
emotional. It's everything.
And it's not just spiritual. It's not just,
Right.
personal development affirmations. It's all of it combined. So you can't do like the light thing and then, be filled with negativity and fear and eat a crappy diet. I
Right.
mean, you can, and you'd be much healthier than probably eating a crappy diet and being exposed to blue light. But like we have all the tools available. So it's I don't know. It's just really cool to connect with people and to share all of these ideas through courses every single month. We're going to be doing workshops every month with people, with different practitioners. The courses are all going to be taught by Dr. Bergman. Another piece too that he's bringing to the table is a whole chiropractic thing.
Right.
And the physiology of the body and the mechanics of the body. And so that's a whole separate layer.
Yeah.
So there's so many aspects to health and healing that like you start stacking all these things on top of one another in the proper way, you really increase your chances of healing.
I totally agree. It's so exciting though to have it all in one, like, because you always wanted to create something just for your own knowledge base, like to have something to. You talked about that for years, where like I just want an area where I can put everything where I'm not going to forget this or that, or I want to write this down, or I want to remember this protocol. It's like you almost create it for yourself, and now the world gets to be a part of it, which is super cool. Like just such a great database of everything.
It's awesome.
And it's all organized for you and.
It's cool because there's an area of there that I'm going to be doing a lot of different videos, like quick tips, it's called. And there's short little videos, relatively short. We're going to try to keep them short. Sometimes it's challenging. But like, how to do
like this show.
I know, right?
You can't just do a short show.
How to do a detox bath, or how to do a coffee enema, or how to do low level red light therapy, or how to, make a green smoothie, or how to do all these types of things, stem cell injections. Like we're going to get into all that stuff. So,
that's crazy.
and then we're doing the courses on top of it. So it's like there's all these different, protocols, areas for you to look at, like, okay, I've got fibromyalgia. What do I do? I've got really bad migraine headaches. What do I do?
Yeah.
So we're going to have all that stuff as well. And so it's going to become like this ongoing process. And one of the cool things too is that we have this area called the health tracker, which allows people to check their ketone levels, check their blood levels, check their pH levels, check their cholesterol, and input that data like on the first of the month over time.
Yeah.
And so you can see.
It actually charts it.
It charts it in a graphical view of like, okay, what's your weight doing? What's your body mass index doing over time? It's really cool to be able to track that stuff. Cause like Jim Rohn said, what doesn't get measured doesn't get tracked. Or what doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured.
Yeah.
So you can't make progress without measuring and tracking.
It's so true though.
Yeah.
I feel like that just in life of like keeping a chronicle, like people who journal or log stuff or exercise stuff. It's like, if you don't, you're never going to know where you land,
Yeah. You should know what your cholesterol levels, your blood sugar levels, your morning fasting levels, your ketone levels. You should know all these things,
I totally agree.
And so
there's such a great resource, I think.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's cool too, because we have videos showing people how to do it, what equipment to use, where to buy the equipment to use.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
And then the whole forum too is amazing. Like it's really great connecting with everybody from all over the world.
Their stories. People share. I love people's honesty.
Mm-hmm.
What is that noise?
Yeah, it just started raining here.
Oh,
so.
gosh. That was like a rat in our wall. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, so hearing everyone's stories is awesome too.
Yeah, and I really, that's why doing shows like this is cool, to be vulnerable. People are vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I love people that don't have it all figured out. And people are like, hey, I'm here because I'm 50 pounds overweight, or I'm here because I cook crap for my kids and I want to be like, I want to cook better meals for them and myself in the process. I mean, I love people and just saying they've tried all the natural stuff too and they still haven't found their answer. They're still waiting, and it's like, I find it really refreshing.
And a little success story. Last Sunday, I was able to complete my first ever full day fast.
Dude, hey, Knuckles.
I
was impressed with you because that is not your strong point.
No, it's not my strong point at all. But that was cool.
We all have our stuff.
So I had tried about 4 or 5 times before that and always gave up around dinner time, 4 or 5 o'clock. I just couldn't handle it anymore.
It's hard.
But what was cool, 2 things got me through that. One is being outside and exposing myself to light, because full frequency light has an effect on your whole entire body. So the more you can get full spectrum light and block blue light, the less you need to eat.
Yeah,
it's all about electrons and photons, and that's what light brings to your body. And I never before had the awesome support of people in the community. Like I'd go into I'd be getting hungry and I'd go check the forum and see if anybody wrote in. They're like, yeah, we're rooting you on. We're rooting you on, like keep going, keep going. And, Leslie was doing it with me, and she's in Georgia. And so it's just really cool.
It's cool.
To
she's
have
3
that.
hours ahead of you, so she's like, "You can keep going."
And then I was like,
go to bed.
I was all, bummed because it's not fair. You're 3 hours ahead of me.
Did you write that in there?
Yeah, I did.
I got to go in there.
But
yeah, good thing we're not in a place where people are like, "Give in, just eat a cookie." Like,
yeah.
It's so great to have the support. That's what you need, whether it's fasting, birthing, dieting,
support,
changing something like. It's really cool when people are just around you rallying. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That's
and
rad.
What's cool is like a lot of people write in too, and I feel that so much. It's like my friends and family think I'm crazy, or like no one understands me, and it's so cool to be a part of a community. Dude, I get that.
Yeah, you totally do.
Because none,
we do.
Most of our friends and family think we're nuts.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have a place to.
Especially during this pregnancy, we're not sharing a whole bunch of our plans until we're sure about what we're doing, because it's just.
They don't get it.
It's not worth.
They're just full of fear.
They
and
don't get it.
Programming.
They're programmed. It's okay.
Trying to give their fear to you,
No, thank you.
So
yeah, though I'm stoked on the whole academy. I just think it's so fun, and we have like a live webinar once a month now, and we're running challenges still. And
that's right.
So fun. The challenges are awesome.
Oh yeah. So I got to tell you guys about the challenge.
Yeah.
So we're running a challenge. Okay. So every month we have a monthly mastermind Q&A call, and we're going to be doing the very first one with Dr. Bergman, where we're going to be answering your questions and sharing insights into what your questions are, and that happens for the members once a month, right?
Right.
But then once a month we also do a free webinar and a free challenge, and dude, this is so cool. So people can win. The first one was a Vitamix blender. Was
you're not California.
First prize.
Dude. People listening in like the Midwest are like, they're so California.
I know.
Sorry. Yes.
So this challenge is the prize is a Bellicon rebounder.
The Vitamix was huge. The Bellicon is huge too. This is big stuff.
Big stuff. So the Bellicon is in our store. If you guys want to learn more about what that is, it's a mini trampoline that has an insane impact on your entire body, your lymphatic system, your bone density. It's incredible.
Major impact while giving low impact.
I know. It's awesome. And so that's a free challenge. So every month we're doing a free challenge where they're like 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. And it's free to join, and you gain points by interacting with the challenge every day and doing, what the emails say to do by sharing it with your friends, and you increase your chances of winning. Yeah. And that happens every month. It's so cool.
Yeah. The prices are rad.
Yeah.
I love it too, because it's not just like these piddly little like $10 gift cards.
Yeah.
I mean, these are big things.
So this month we're giving away the Bellicon rebounder. We're giving away the Defender Shield that we talked about, and a bottle of MitoLife DHA.
Nice.
As the first, second, and third prize.
We talked about all these. This is great.
Yeah, we love them.
We love them. We use them daily, and it's good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love when people post pictures and show themselves like, here I'm in my kitchen making my green
awesome.
juice, or making us part of their Instagram story. It's cool.
I know. It's really, really cool. So anyway.
Good.
Yeah, good stuff.
How do people join if they want to join the academy?
Oh yeah.
Can't talk about it, and then it's not a...
So if you go to extremehealthchallenge.com, I'll put a link to that. So you know what? Here, let me put a link to that.
We have a webinar coming up again soon.
That's right. A live webinar.
Yep.
And all you got to do is remember 562, I think. Let me make sure I got that right. So that's the show notes for this page.
Okay.
Yeah, 562. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/562, you just write that down if you're driving or doing something right now. Just write 562, and then you'll remember, where to go for that. But that's basically it. And then I'll put a link to the Extreme Health Challenge. I'll put a link to the Academy if you guys want to join. It's a monthly and a yearly option for that.
Yeah, which I think is so helpful. Some people want to, we do that with courses. We either buy them outright or we pay them off, It's month by month. It's cool. There's options for people on different budgets. So.
And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's all,
Why you'd want your money back, I don't know.
I know, right? That's so cool.
So affordable, and you get so much good stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
But no, it is there in case people aren't satisfied.
We want to make it easy. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us.
So fun.
Pretty cool, right?
562, and we are through.
So look at you.
I'm learning how to rhyme for these babies. Nursery rhymes.
So you're due sometime at the end of June.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. But with twins, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know. I just found this site earlier called Twiniversity. It's all about twins. You get to read about everyone else's. Like, I had to sit up I had to sleep in a chair sitting up my whole pregnancy. I couldn't breathe either. I had to do yoga until I calmed down because I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like,
wow. Okay. You just found it now?
Just found it.
Let me put it on there. Should I put it in the show notes?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know how natural it is, but it's like for people who are thinking they're crazy.
Twiniversity?
Twin, TWIN-IVERSITY.com. Twiniversity.
What a trip. Okay.
It's like they have all these resources. Community, knowledge, and humor. It's all about twins and multiples.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Fair enough.
And they give a book, or you can buy a book over there called What to Do When You're Having Two.
Nice.
From double duty breastfeeding to sticking to one sleep schedule, What to Do When You're Having Two covers it all.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, it's
cool.
good. I mean, online world is great, isn't it?
There's so much info.
Stoked.
All right, guys.
Love
this
you guys.
was episode 562, so we'll put a link to everything at extremehealthradio.com/562.
Cool. This was fun.
Is that it?
Yeah, I hope people enjoy this. I hope that it helped them a little bit with, there's a lot of our personal story and just, the reality of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes of the pregnancy and stuff. But yeah, in general, man, if you're pregnant and listening or been writing to us asking what we're doing, I feel like that supplement list is a really good place to start. And obviously, if you're feeling better than I have been, I would have loved to add in things like yoga. And I just started adding in new specialty chiropractic.
What you should do too is acupuncture. Can you do
acupuncture, that? I was recommended that from the woman I'm seeing that deals specifically with prenatal things, and that would be something I'm going to add into. So, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that I feel like I'm a little over halfway. I have a long time to go. So, she was asking me my short-term and long-term goals yesterday with my health, and she goes, yeah, but is like more of a long-term goal with this pregnancy, even though it's halfway. Do you want to go to a yoga class? I mean, what is your... And it's cool. I'm like, yeah, this is stuff like I do want to be able to walk up a hill again.
Yeah, not be winded.
Not be winded. I mean, there's things that, need to get aligned. So
yeah,
I encourage everyone who is or isn't pregnant or thinking about it just to create a really good space and, make the best of it, but also just learn to surrender.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's good. So this was fun.
All right, guys. Glad you enjoyed it. It was extremehealthradio.com/562. We'll put the links. And thanks for supporting us by going to our store, checking out any of the products that might help you.
Yep.
That's how we keep the show free. And thanks for checking out the Academy. I highly encourage you guys to sign up and join and introduce yourself in the community and joining the challenge, sharing that and all that. So we appreciate all of that. So awesome stuff. So thank you guys again. We love you, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease.